solving linear inequalities. 1.6 is split up into 2 days, so day 1 is just solving inequalities, and day 2 is solving compound inequalities. So to solve an inequality, remember, you solve an inequality using the same processes as how you would solve a linear equation. Remember, if you multiply or divide both sides of an inequality by a negative number, then you must reverse or flip the inequality symbol. The final thing we're going to do is we'll graph the solution on a number line. Remember, use an open circle if you have just a greater than, or a less than symbol. And you will use a closed circle if you have a greater than or equal to, or a less than or equal to symbol. Okay, so let's get into a couple of examples. So like I said, your process is the exact same with linear equations. So you will want to first start by isolating the variable. So in this case, we are solving for x. So let's get 4x by itself. I'm going to do that by subtracting 3 from both sides. From there, we will have 4x is less than 11 minus 3, which is just 8. Then, to isolate our variable, solve for x. Let's divide our coefficient from both sides, which will leave me with x is greater than 2. And that's my final answer. Remember, a lot of the time, in order to make sure your direction is correct when graphing, you will want your variable on the left side, because then your graph will go to the side that your inequality symbol is pointing. So let's go ahead and make a number line. Remember, you want values. You're going to put your value in the center and add one less than and one greater than value. Since I just have a greater than symbol, I'm going to use an open circle. And since x is greater than 2, we are going to shade in the positive direction. Okay, similar process with number 2. Let's first start by isolating my variable. So I'm going to subtract 15 from both sides. That will leave me with negative 3x is greater than or equal to negative 12. Next, let's go ahead and divide my coefficient. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 3. And remember, when you divide both sides by a negative number, you need to flip your inequality symbol. So that's going to leave me with x is now less than or equal to negative 12 divided by negative 3 is a positive 4. And that's going to be my final answer. So once again, go ahead, make your number line. Make 4 my center value. Put a number greater than, a number less than. Since I have an or equal to, I'm going to use a closed circle. And we know that x is less than 4, so I'm going to shade in the negative direction. All right. You guys can try number 3 on your own, and we can go over it together in class. All right, number 4 and 5. So let's do number 4. We'll save number 5 for class. So in number 4, the first thing you're going to want to do is distribute inside our parentheses. So I'm going to distribute 14, and I'm going to distribute 2. So 14, anytime you have x over a number, think about that as, your fraction being 1/7 times x. So 14 times 1/7 is just 2. So I've got 2x minus 1/2 times 14 is 7, is less than 2 times x, which is 2x, plus 2 times 5, which is 10, minus 17. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and combine like terms on my right side. So I've got 2x minus 7 is less than 2x, 10 minus 17 is negative 7. So now we have the same thing on both sides. So no matter how I do this, we'll get the same result here. So let's actually subtract 2x from both sides, because then you will see that we have negative 7 is less than negative 7. This is where you guys will have to use a little bit of logic. So negative 7 is equal to negative 7, but it's not less than. So in this case, this is a false statement, which would mean that I would have no solution. Okay, in the case that you have no solution, you will just leave your number line blank. You don't have to do anything to it. So think about number 5. What if the symbol is changed to a greater than or equal to symbol? And, write a little bit about it and show me what the graph would look like. All right. Hopefully this was all review for you guys. Thanks for watching.